The saddest little Amtrak station I had ever seen. Not too far away was one of the best-looking SD40s I had ever seen, Florida Gulf and Atlantic number 6300, recently repainted from FURX black into parent company Rail USA's beautiful flag scheme. I'm on CSX's old SP line running the length of the Florida Panhandle from Jacksonville to Mobile, Alabama. Once serving the beloved Sunset Limited, the line was bought by Rail USA back in 2019, with FGAR operations beginning June 1st of the same year. FGAR is Rail USA's second company, only operating Mississippi Shortline Granada Railway prior. Florida Gulf and Atlantic operations are pretty easy to catch, with one of two trains on the east side of Lake City being turn job LCBA, running weekday mornings from Lake City to the CSX interchange in Baldwin and back. I had only waited about 20 minutes before Friday morning's train started to pull east. Rail USA doesn't own any of their motive power, but rather leases it from First Union Rail, a division of Wells Fargo Rail. Yes, as in the banking and investment firm. This move made great sense once I realized that Barbara Wilson, president and CFO of Rail USA, was brought in by the company from Wells Fargo Rail, the nation's largest locomotive and railcar leasing company. FURX, like many other leasing companies, allows customers to paint long-term lease locomotives in their desired scheme, which was the main reason I had finally decided to make the trip up to FGAR. I had driven up on a whim, hoping to find one of the 4 flag units in the lead. Luck was on my side, as the slow speed of LCBA combined with today's leader made for another nice shot just 3 blocks east of the defunct station. Today's long train took forever to escape the yard limits, which allowed me to jump less than a mile down the road to the Lake City Diamond, where the Norfolk Southern's Navarre district out of Valdosta crosses over the FGAR, only to dead end about 3 miles south at Idaho Timber in the district's namesake town. With the tail end of the train still easing its way onto the main, I leapfrogged the power yet again just outside of town. Between the country road, the curved track on a rolling grade, the slow-moving SD40s, and the morning dew, this shot took me back to my chase of the Yadkin Valley Railroad in Rural Hall, North Carolina. That was possibly the best day I've ever had on the high iron, never to be forgotten. Not to be stood up is FGAR 6300 ambling through the dew. Morning dew is one of my favorite conditions to railfan in. The trains are all shiny in the rising sun, and there's always an exciting chase ahead. My exciting chase was on the Florida Gulf and Atlantic's east end between Baldwin and Lake City. From Lake City, FGAR ownership stretches another 315 miles into Pensacola, as well as a 25-mile branch line to Attapulgis, Georgia. FGAR operations are unique in that there are no road trains, rather turn jobs that work in tandem with each other. LCBA's consist came out of Tallahassee the day prior, picked up at Lee by the nightly switcher out of Lake City, and is now on the way to CSX in Baldwin, with an eventual destination of Waycross and beyond. The train is finally free of the Lake City yard limits as the engineer starts to lay into his 6,000 horses. One thing I like about these backcountry railroads is that they stretch through untouched forests, such as the Osceola National Forest outside of Lake City. This was a real old-fashioned country crossing, used only for local logging trucks. Enter LCBA. No busy grade crossings, no yard limits, just the pine forest and raw EMD power. It was awesome. Now we were really moving. It took another 10 minutes to outpace the turn into the quiet town of Olustee. Olustee is a real old-fashioned state road town with a flashing traffic light and a railroad avenue paralleling the tracks. This morning's turn was massive. Aside from 66 general merchandise cars, the crew was bringing an additional 91 empty grain cars out of Live Oak, a bit west of Lake City. Pilgrim's Pride operates a large feed mill in the small town, which used to receive unit trains from FGAR powered by run-through CSX engines. Recent changes at the Florida Gulf and Atlantic eliminated these unit grain trains and instead moved to tack them onto the tandem locals. In the name of efficiency, this seems to be working well as the two SD40s are moving more than their share of freight this morning. Watching the whole train at Olustee set me back quite a bit, but I had more than enough time to wait at Glen St. Mary. The morning was so quiet I could hear the two 645s about 7 or 8 minutes before I could see them. This shot, with the hill, golden lighting, parallel dirt road, and of course a flag unit leader, could not have come together better. From Glen St. Mary, the next possible spot was the approach to CSX's Baldwin Yard. I had heard that CSX is pretty stingy when letting FGAR into Baldwin and figured these red signals would stay put for quite a while. But good things come to those who wait, and it wasn't long at all until LCBA was inching up on the signal masts. don't know if this was intentional on the engineer's part or if I just picked the best place to stand, but I was psyched to have the flag unit basking right in front of me. These engines are a work of art with plans in place to paint the entire fleet into the corporate scheme. Furix 6300 was formerly HLCX 6300, one of only 2 engines that lasted into the 20-teens in MPI's striking purple and yellow scheme. Back in 2015, I was lucky enough to stumble upon the other purple unit, HLCX number 6305. Needless to say, I was very happy. $6,300 is dressed in yet another eye-catching coat of paint under FCAR, but I couldn't admire it for too long as CSX was pretty quick to give them a signal. I gladly took the opportunity to watch the gorgeous power set pass me by one more time. Well, apparently CSX wasn't playing so nice after all. But I was super happy with my morning on the FCAR and decided to call it a day. Thanks for railfanning with me today, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.